So I have the simple bot here that is quite similar to ChatGPT. And in this version, you can talk to the bot from terminal. So if I say hi, the bot will respond. So as you can see, it says, hi, what do you want? Give me a question or a task, and be specific. I'm not here to babysit vague vibes. All right, so you can just say, write an email or something, and then it will respond. So in this video, we will see how we can create it, how we can set up predefined system instructions so that you can customize it for your own organization or your own web app. And I'll follow standard practices like token counting so that you know how many tokens you are used. We will be using token limiting. So this is a basic framework for the next tutorial where we will see how we can integrate an organization specific data or a knowledge base so that you can customize this app for a specific use case or an organization to which you want to sell this or you're working for. So by default, ChatGPT or any other LLM does not have organization specific data. In the next video, we will see how we can fit our data, our knowledge base like PDFs or any other stuff into this chatbot and make it an expert in our organizational knowledge base or any other knowledge base. So let's get started. So let's understand the file structure first, and then we will have the bot up and running in just a few minutes. So first, you will need an environment file that will have your token. Now, whatever I'm showing you right now is the standard way to do this. Now we have these credentials in a .env file because we want this .env file very safe. We do not want this to be pushed to GitHub and so on. So we add this .env file in a gitignore file that will not track this file. So we have all the credentials here. And whenever we share the file or push it to any version control system like GitHub, GitLab, we do not push this so that it remains safe and it is not exposed. And we do not have this inside the code itself too. And in the code, we will refer to this OpenAI API key to access this key. Never put your keys inside your code. Okay, after that we have requirements.txt. Now this will contain all the requirements for the project. For this simple project, we just need OpenAI and tick token module because we want to count how many tokens we have used so that we do not spend our limit or, our bill is not too high, which is often the case in many of these vibe coded applications. And we use OpenAI module to call the OpenAI API, use the OpenAI classes and so on. And finally, we have a main.py where we will write all our code. Okay, so let's just jump into the code, and the code is pretty simple. First, let's just add all our imports. Here we are importing the OpenAI module from OpenAI tick token OS, and we are loading the virtual environment file, that is this file, and we are getting our API key from this file. And now let's initialize our model. So first we initialize our OpenAI object and we pass the key here, and then we choose the model. Now GPT-5 Nano is a very inexpensive, and I think this is the cheapest model, so we will choose this. And this is the maximum number of tokens that we allow ChatGPT to utilize for a specific reasoning and response. And this is the overall token budget. Now this is very low, obviously. You'll want to increase this. Now I have this low just for this specific project. And finally, this is the system prompt. You are a grumpy straight talking assistant who provides concise and direct answers. Now you can definitely change this as you want. And in ChatGPT, you can have multiple prompts according to what you need. But if you are building a custom application, you might want to have a fixed prompt because your app might have a fixed job. Okay, so once the system is initialized, we create a message to send to ChatGPT. So this is the message. The role will be system and the content is system prompt. So the system prompt will be added to the system. Now let's create a chat function that will take user message and send that message to ChatGPT or OpenAI API and then get the response. So let's call it chat, and here we will pass user input, and in the messages we will append this. So this is role user. This means that the user has said this, and this is the content that user said it. Now I have this autocomplete. Now let's see if this is correct, and if it is correct, I will accept it. So I want to create chat completions, and I want to use the model that we have defined, and I want to send the messages, and the max completion tokens is max tokens. Okay, sounds good. And we want to get the reply, and we want to append messages. That is, assistant said this reply, and return reply. This is quite good. So I did not have to code it. I can just accept it. And I've already explained what we are doing. We are sending this, that is use this model, and these are the messages, and use this many tokens to ChatGPT, OpenAI API. And then we are getting the reply from the OpenAI API. And finally, we are returning the reply. Now we can do whatever we want with this reply after calling this function. So let's quickly try it out. I'll just create a function, a loop. In this loop, we will continuously get user input, and if the user types exit or quit in lower case, sorry, in any case, we will lower it anyway. So if the user types exit or quit, we will just break out of the loop. If not, we will just pass the user input to this chat function, and this response of the chat function will be returned from the chat method, and we are just printing that message. This is quite it, but we will definitely need to enforce more token control mechanism. Let's try it out, and if it works, we will add the token control. So let's run this. First, you need to create a virtual environment. Let's quickly create a virtual environment. Now, this is not a mandatory step, but it is recommended that you install all the project-specific dependencies in your virtual environment so that they are isolated from all your other projects, so that there is no mismatch of versions in one project to another project. Let's say if you use OpenAI's SDK version 1 and another project is using version 1.2. So to keep your dependencies isolated is a good idea so that your code does not break unexpectedly. So let's just quickly create virtual environment. Once it's created, let's activate it. Okay, you do not add source in Windows. If you're on Mac or Linux, you need to add this. But if you're on Windows, do not add source. Okay, let me just fix this very quickly. Okay, so I think it's this backslash in Windows, not /. That's why I was getting this error. And now the virtual environment is activated. If you are on Mac or Linux, the command is just add source and then / bin and then activate. Okay, this is the command if you're on Mac or Linux. Now, once this virtual environment is activated, let's install these dependencies. Now we are doing this now, and as the project grows, we will add more dependencies here and then install them later on. Okay, so the command to install the dependencies are python-m pip install -r, that means install from requirements file, and our file name. Hit enter, and these two dependencies, that is tick token, which we have not used yet, and OpenAI will be installed. So now that the installation is complete, let's clear the screen first. Let's try to run this. So we have our virtual environment open. No matter where you are in Mac or Windows, if you have your virtual environment activated, your virtual environment name will be shown here. Now let's try to run this. Python main.py. It says no module name.env. So we are using .env, but we have not installed it because it was not here. So let's add python.env and any version here. Let me install just that now. Hit enter and let's install this. Okay, now let's clear the screen again so that it's all clear. Let's try to run our main file again. And this time there is no error and it says, what do you want to say? Let's just say hello. Let's see what ChatGPT responds. And it says, hey, what do you need help with? Let's write what's your name and let's see what it does. It says name's ChatGPT, your AI assistant. So we have a basic functionality ready, right? So you cannot just change the system prompt. It will just talk like this. Now let's implement max tokens and max token budget. You can press Control and tilde together to minimize the terminal, and you can press it again to open it. So we are not closing it. We are just minimizing it by pressing Control tilde together. Okay, now let's add some functionality. So first, let's add a function to get encoding, which will be used to count the number of tokens used. So let's call def get encoding, and we pass the model name to it. And since different models might use different encoding for tokens, this will count tokens based on the model. So again, this has made coding very easy. I'm getting this suggestion. So what it is doing is returning encoding for model, and this is what I want to do. And if there's an error, it says model not found, and then it returns a base coding, which is actually correct. So let's accept this. And now let's get our encoding. So encoding is get encoding, and our model, which we have defined here, that is GPT-5 Nano. And now let's count the tokens that we are sending. So we will have count tokens and we will pass text to it. Okay, this is also, I think it's correct, but I'll make it a bit shorter than this. So we'll do count tokens and we will pass messages or text, and we'll just return length encoding dot encode our messages actually. Okay, now this will be it for now. Now let's create a function to count total tokens used till now. So we'll say total tokens used and we'll pass messages to it. And what we'll do is initially, okay, this is not good. We do not set the total to 0 because it will be set to 0 every time we call this function. We do not want to do this. We want our tokens to be appended to previous or added to the previous tokens used. So what we'll do is we will remove this. I should not have pressed enter that quickly, and just write try return sum of count tokens message content for message in messages. So we have our messages here and we count the text in content. So inside our message, that means this object, we count tokens for the content that we are passing to ChatGPT or OpenAI. Okay, you might be confused because we are using messages here too. So let's just rename this and let's just call this text. Let's change this to text here too. So this is a DOM function. It will count tokens in whatever we are passing to it. And here we will count tokens for all the content in our messages array. So it will count tokens for historical stuff, our past conversations and so on. And since we've used try, we gotta use except, right? Otherwise there will be an error. So let's just say print error counting tokens. So autocomplete is quite good in this kind of stuff because this is something that has to be done. It's quite like boilerplate code. So we have count total tokens. We have count tokens and we have total tokens used till now. Now let's just use it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create a function called enforce token budget. Here we'll pass the whole historical messages array and the budget. Budget is, okay, we do not need to use this. We can just directly use it like this. So this time it helped me quite a bit, this autocomplete. So here it's also already suggesting remove the oldest message, which is what we will do. So let's just click here. No, okay, that's quite dumb. It's just added the comment. So what we'll do is if the length of message is greater than 1, we will just remove a message. Okay, if less than 1, we will not do anything. And let's just while token used. So it keeps on receiving, I mean, it's removing all the previous messages till we only have 1 left. So once we have reached the token limit, it will remove all the messages and last. So here, once we have reached our token limit, we will call this function. What this function will do is it will take all our messages with the system prompt till now, because when we chat, we will keep appending our conversation to the messages list, right? And we will reserve our system prompt that is on index 0. All right. So in an array or list, the indexes starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first element, that is the system prompt, will be in the 0th index. And then we might say hi and so on. So the hi will be in first index, and later on, let's say we had said what's your name, that will be in the second place. So the index will be 2 for that. So in our previous example that we said hi and we said what's your name. The indexes will be like 0 for system prompt, 1 for hi, and 2 for what's your name. So what we are doing here is once we have reached the token budget, we will remove the first message. The first message was hi. Okay, so that's the one here. It represents the first message that we had said. That is the message in the index 1. In index 0, it's system prompt. So we just remove one message, the oldest message, and then we can talk. So our enforce token budget enforces the tokens. And finally, we have everything ready. We just need to enforce the token budget. So after we have received a response, okay, what we'll do is we'll just say enforce token budget and send the messages array to it. Okay, so it will remove our oldest message that we had sent. And we have actually made and used everything. We do not need to do anything here because we are just taking user input and then calling the chat function. So let's just go over the flow, what it does. Control click on chat and it will show the definition of chat. In chat, we're just appending whatever the user said and getting a response from OpenAI. And whatever response we have gotten, we are just appending it to our messages. And if the total message length increases the token budget, we remove the last message that we had said. Not the last, the oldest message. And then we return this reply. Here is the reply and we just print it on screen. So let's try to run this again. And if everything is successful, in the next tutorial video, we will see how we can add organization specific knowledge or any other knowledge base that you have. Maybe you have GBs or terabytes of PDFs that you want to train this model on. We will see how we can do that and add a UI to this. Okay, let's run this. So again, press Ctrl tilde to open your previous chatbot. Press Ctrl C to close this session. Let's clear the screen so that everything is tidy. And let's run this again by typing python main.py. And now it says, see, model is not found using base encoding. So now our token counting should also work. Let's say hello. And it says, what can I help you with? Let's say, what day is today? And it will reply, and our token budget will be kept in mind. Okay, so if you want to print how many tokens have been used, you can just print total tokens used and use this total tokens used function. It will give you the total tokens used in all our messages. So let's Control-C this again to close this, and let's restart this so that we can see how many tokens are actually being used. Again, let's say hi, and let's say how are you. So now you can see live how many tokens are being used or has been used till now. And if it reaches our limit, that is 4,000, it will remove the oldest message that we had sent. Say, what day is today? Now you can type a very long message or talk to this for around 10 minutes and your tokens will be exhausted. That's if you want to check if token removal is working or not. But it will work because I don't make mistakes. Okay, so yeah, if this video helped, give it a thumbs up. So let me know if you want to see the next part where I'll implement drag and how you can actually add a UI to this so that you have your own assistant online. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below.